Hi, and welcome back to The Surgical Sewist. I'm Marissa McHugh. Today, we're going to take your Hexi flower, which has now been attached to another piece of fabric, and we're going to make that into what we call a quilt sandwich. That means a piece of backing fabric, a piece of batting, and then a piece of top fabric. We're going to sew all three of these layers together, and this part is actually called quilting. So let's get to it. First, you're going to need backing fabric that's about an inch larger on all sides than your project, and batting that's the same size as your project. In this case, it's about a 5-inch square project and a 6-inch square piece of backing fabric. The backing fabric goes face down. Put some glue on the batting and glue the batting right in the middle of the backing fabric. Now you'll put some glue on the front of the batting and put your flower fabric on top of that. So you'll see your piece of fabric with the flower is the same size as the batting, and there's about a 1/2 inch border on the fabric around it. I give that a press so that everything sets, but you really don't have to. We're going to use a running stitch to quilt all 3 layers together. Don't stress about the details here. All you have to do is make sure that the 3 layers are attached. So take a needle that is threaded with a knot at the end of the thread. Stick it through your batting, through an open edge of the project, and have it come up through one of the hexes. That's going to bury your knot inside the batting. And now just go up and down through the hexie. It doesn't matter how long the stitches are, how close they are to the edge, or how close they are to each other. All of that is dependent on you and what you want. If you want this to look perfect, you can, but I will say that the whole charm of hand stitching something is that people know that a machine did not make it. So the goal here is not to make it look as though a machine did this perfectly. How much or how little you quilt it and the design is completely up to you. But when you're finished, I'll show you a cool way to make a knot. Stitch down so that your needle comes out the back of the fabric. Now, take the part of your thread that's closest to the fabric and wrap it twice around your needle. Put the needle back in through the backing fabric next to where the thread came out and pull it through about 1 centimeter away. It's not going through the front fabric here. So you can see that it makes a little knot there, and if you pull it, the knot pops in. Now that knot is buried in the batting. You can't see it on either side. You could get more efficient with the quilting as you go on. This is how I quilt. I use a thimble on my 3rd finger and hold the needle with my 1st and 4th, and then move it back and forth, taking multiple stitches at a time. Some people are so good at this that they make tiny, tiny uniform stitches, and there are many, many YouTube videos of people that are great at this if you want to check that out. It's worth noting that I like using bold hand quilting thread. It's thicker and I like how it looks for my quilting, but it does make it harder to pull the needle and thread through the fabric. So if you're having trouble and there's friction, you might want to move to a thinner thread. Your coaster is almost complete now, but your edges still aren't finished. So in the next episode, we're going to make binding. That's folded edges that complete your project and keep everything inside. We're going to use the piece of backing fabric that's already attached and a stitch that you learned in the last video, so you already have everything that you need to finish your project. Stay tuned and see you next time on The Surgical Sewist.